everyone. This is Amy and Andy, and we are here today with Chad Winstead and Beth Lang of Chad Winstead Photo and Film. Chad and Beth are amazing photographers and truly a powerhouse couple, so we're super stoked to have them on the show today. Make sure you drop a note in the comments, let us know where you're watching live from, and ask all the questions that you have for Chad and Beth. We are going to be talking with Chad and Beth today about their 5 best practices for working together as a photography team. So their 5 best practices are 1, communication, or sometimes no communication. Number 2, all eyes on deck. Number 3, be there or be square. Number 4, give instructions. And number 5, lighting jobs. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Chad and Beth. We're super stoked to have you guys.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
You got it. You guys are based out of North Carolina, and you also travel anywhere, right? Tell us a little bit about your photography business.
So we've been doing weddings full time for right around 5 years now, I guess, or close to 5 years. Well, I say full time. Beth's actually a teacher as well.
Awesome.
But we've been doing it together for about 5 years now, and we do photo and video. We keep going back and forth on taking the video off and whatnot, but our main focus is the photography, but we do video as well.
No, I don't do video.
Yeah, I do the video, and she does the photo when we do that. But yeah, we enjoy weddings. We love doing weddings. It's kind of our specialty. That's about 95% of what we do with our photography business. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's super great. So not only do you guys run a full-time photography business, but Beth is also a full-time teacher. So you guys are balancing that, and then you do all your photography together. So we're really excited to have you guys on here to really kind of delve into how that process works for you. And I'm pretty sure this is the first time that Amy and I have had a couple on with us, so we're really excited about that too. So
Sounds exciting.
you guys have also been racking up the awards this year too. We got SLR Lounge Awards, a couple of Fearless Awards as well. So that's super awesome.
Yeah, Beth got the 2 Fearless Awards. She'll be quick to point that out. She's out doing it there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we've definitely enjoyed the SLR Lounge Awards. It's been fun to enter.
Yeah, thank you guys for doing that.
Yes.
So we are going to go ahead and do a little screen share here, and we're going to get right into looking at some of your photos while we talk about your best practices. So your first one is communication. So tell us about how you guys rock out communication while photographing.
Yeah, so there's really no algorithm or definitive way we do things. It kind of depends on the day, like the temperature even. Beth doesn't do well in the heat, and we live in North Carolina, so it can get kind of hot and humid, but and she also gets a little hangry, so we make sure we feed her and hydrate and stuff. So as far as the communication goes, we are a couple. We try to communicate the best we can. We also sometimes don't even have to speak to kind of know where each one of us needs to be on the day of. We've kind of gotten to
Yeah, but that's a process. We've been doing this together for 5 years now. So after 5 years, we've learned how each other kind of moves, how we like to work, what makes each other tick. And it's just kind of that preemptive, having that for this particular photo, having that game plan. This is in a church where we are not allowed in. I'm actually sitting up on a balcony, and that's kind of where I stayed for the entire duration of the ceremony. So I didn't move. I couldn't creak or anything because, a lot of those old churches are wood, so they creak a lot. So you had to kind of just stay stationary. And Chad's downstairs. And so for this particular wedding, this is where we weren't even in contact with one another. I couldn't see what he was doing, see what he was saying. Sorry, there's dogs. And so we kind of had to put a game plan in place even before this whole ceremony started.
Yeah, so basically I just had her kind of stay in the balcony to get the safe stuff and the cool balcony angle while I was downstairs, and yeah, that's probably a good idea. while I was downstairs getting, looking for creative angles. Even though I wasn't allowed in, I was trying to find you know, a creative angle like this one right here where we found this little cross was cut out in the door. So just finding stuff like that to shoot through and get a cool different shot. And yeah, so I guess the point is the communication is that she knew where to be the whole time, knew what safe shots to get while I was trying to get something more creative and a different angle for the couple, that they wouldn't expect since they know the rules of the church and whatnot. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, this photo too in particular, we've seen floating around social media.
Yeah.
This was a fearless photo of the day too, I think recently.
Yeah. And it's
Super great.
It's funny
Super
too
great
because
phrase.
it was literally, I mean, couldn't have planned it any better that it was that happened to be cut out in the door of that church, and it just happened to line up pretty well with the symmetry and everything like that. So
Yeah, we absolutely love this photograph. It rocks. It's amazing.
Jared, shout out to Jared who's watching. He says that Chad and Beth are his fave. So, and
Aw.
there's
what's up, Jared?
There's already miscellaneous comments from Dave. Thanks for tuning in, Dave. But Chad has instructed us to so
But we
that's
still
awesome.
love you.
I love that point about communication. So, I mean, I think Amii and I, we've been photographing together a long time as well. So a lot of that stuff is seamless, but it's really good to have that game plan because for those photographers out there, especially who might be working with somebody who they don't, they might not have worked with before, like really taking that time to nail down a game plan is really important. So great tip. And then your next one is all eyes on deck. Tell us what that means for you guys.
So you want to
Shall we
elaborate
do
on that
this
one?
one?
I'll let you
Okay.
elaborate on that
So
one.
I like this one. This is kind of one of my favorite things that I think that we do together really well is I kind of put a twist on all hands on deck because there's two of us. So we have two different perspectives. We're two totally different people. I mean, there's no way that we could have the same moment and it's not going to look the same through each of our eyes. So use that to your advantage and know that Chad's going to take his spin on things. I'm going to take my spin on things. And just kind of make sure that we're not doing the exact same thing. So we shouldn't have the same. The goal is to get as many stories told in a different way as possible for our clients. So we shouldn't be looking for and doing the same thing. So we shouldn't have both have 85s on our cameras or anything like that. So the goal is to kind of have a different look, a different feel, a different story told from two different perspectives.
Yeah, and we do things a little bit differently when we second shoot, or we try to anyway. We try not to split up, like even for the prep. Like say if she's getting her hair and makeup done, we kind of both want to be there, kind of getting two different angles, two different looks for even stuff like that, instead of splitting up. And then we'll go over to the guys and knock that out. And then so the whole day we're working right side by side, as long as the couple's okay with that, and we plan it out ahead of time and whatnot. So. And it allows us to get stuff like this. Like this was one of the best Fearless Awards from this year. Was this up close makeup shot, while I was kind of getting the more wide shots, kind of telling the whole scene where she was more intimate. So this bride, I mean, you can see she's getting ready at a little salon. It's actually a part of a shopping center. So,
but
I thought
still
it was
really
kind of
pretty inside.
Yeah, it was really pretty inside. But I thought it was kind of funny, to get kind of a story of where it was and. Making something cool out of just a little storefront like that and kind of going where it is and whatnot. But
yeah, and that's absolutely essential to the client, right? Because they want to remember what the building looked like and where they did that. In 20 years they might kind of forget that. So that's really important. Yeah.
And if it was just one of us there, we may have forgotten to do one thing, and it's we want to give a diverse portfolio, tell the whole story of the scene, all that stuff. So that's another reason we like to work together, even for like hair and makeup and all that good stuff. So.
And then my other kind of thought behind All Eyes on Deck is being able to photograph the whole day together is such a benefit because there's sometimes where I have a vision and can't always make that happen. So I can bounce ideas off of Chad and ask him for advice. And if I still can't make it happen, I'll say, look, this is what I want to do. I can't figure out how to do it. And then he'll take it and maybe he'll put a totally different spin on it and make it even better than what I had planned on doing originally.
Yeah. We steal each other's ideas a lot.
That's awesome.
That is.
So Dave Shea has a question, and he asked you, with working as a team so often, what do you find the greatest struggle is to overcome? Good question.
Oh
The
man.
greatest struggle.
Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm super like sensitive, and so sometimes the constructive criticism thing gets under my skin. And being a couple, and sometimes I just feel like I take things a little bit too personally. And so especially on a wedding day, I have to make sure there are days where the banter is awesome, and I think our couples appreciate sometimes that we have this kind of sarcastic back and forthness.
Yeah.
But then some days I have to remember, okay, this is, work brain, got to turn off from relationship brain. I can't get so upset over some of the comments that we kind of make back and forth.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think some of that probably comes from us actually, being a couple and whatnot,
Yeah.
as opposed to, a hired second shooter or whatnot. But I mean, the other thing I would say, maybe the struggle would be, I mean, even though we have that clear communication and stuff like that, we're still going to get in each other's way every now and then. So, trying to make sure we're out of each other's shots or whatnot during certain periods of time may be maybe a struggle.
Yeah, I can relate because I'm always in Amy's way.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
always
always
been
in
my way.
Chad's way.
True. Yeah.
So especially for the shot, yeah, like the shot above. So Chad's outside for here, and I'm like wedged. So you see that she's not very far away from the window,
Yeah.
and I'm not a tiny girl. So I'm wedged literally like right in between her, the makeup artist, and this window.
That's awesome.
With this, I have this 90 millimeter Tamron macro lens that I have adapted to the Sony because we finally yesterday bought the Sony macro.
Yeah.
So I have this like Tamron macro that I have adapted, and I'm like manually focusing it with like 3 double chins sticking out.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
Oh.
Really good. So your third, let's go to your third tip, which is be there or be square, and tell us what you mean with that.
Yeah, so we don't really charge by the hour or do packages with hours of coverage, stuff like that. Like I know that's a photography model that most people do. We kind of do a flat rate for our packages, and we photograph from start to finish on the day of. So we do kind of what we call all day coverage. Typically it's up to 12 hours or whatnot.
But we don't like cap it
But
at 12
yeah, we don't
if it
really
goes
like.
over. That's just kind of like
We just
safety
don't really
for
pay
us.
attention to the hours. We want to be there to capture like the story of the day from start to finish. It allows the couple to, if we haven't met them before, done an engagement session with them before, I mean, like one of my tips is just kind of, when you're there with them the whole day, they ease up more. They're comfortable with you being there. They're able to live in the moment a little bit more. Once they get used to us being there during the hair and makeup or him getting dressed and all that stuff, it kind of takes a little bit of the awkwardness out of it as well. And I don't know. I mean, that's just the way we like to operate. We like to get in that creative flow, and that helps us as well as, starting early and getting the creative juices flowing. So by the time, they're getting in their wedding clothes and getting ready for the ceremony, like we're ready to rock as well. So
My favorite part about not limiting hours is that when we did like 6-8 hour packages, these brides were trying to cram 6 hours of moments, like a whole wedding day into 6 hours. So it was super super time constricting. It was very stressful, and it's nice to just kind of have that time. And even if they weren't willing to put that wedding day into 6 hours, being there all day, the best way to get these moments is to be there for them. So we've kind of found that there's a lot of moments that happen outside 6 hours of wedding coverage. Some of our favorite photos we've taken would clearly have been long before or long after weddings began or started.
yeah.
Absolutely. We found that very helpful as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like
So
these-
tell us a little bit about these photos here.
yeah, so these kind of roll into our next point, which is about instructions and whatnot.
Okay. Cool. So your next point, so point 4 is give instructions. So
Yeah. Yes, so we
Alright, awesome.
we like to give instructions. I mean, even sometimes to the vendors, to the couple or whatnot. We try to be a fly on the wall for as much of the day as possible, capture everything naturally. But for times like this, for like the cake cutting or bouquet garter toss or something like that, the couple's looking for instruction from either the planner or from us even. Sure, they're to like secretly guide them in, like for the cake cutting, I'll kind of secretly guide them into the best spot that I think is going to look the best for the photo, how we have the lighting set up, how the background looks, all that stuff. So we'll kind of guide them into those positions while giving them instruction like how to cut the cake, and for the bouquet and garter toss, we'll look at the backgrounds and see, which background we want to use or what we want it to look like, have our lighting set up that way, and then once it comes time for that to happen, we'll kind of help with talk with the DJ, talk with the couple or planner, whoever, and we'll get them in the right position and, quickly and easily without really interrupting the moment or anything like that. So
Nice. Cool.
And that's about it on that one.
For the instruction thing, the one thing I can think of is there was one wedding that we walked in, and it was a gorgeous, like, a hotel loft. It was huge. This room was massive. And so we went in, and the makeup artist had put the bride in a bathroom. And the bathroom was super, super small. It had, like, it wasn't even, like, the white lights. It was, like, orange bathroom lights. And we were like, and the whole front of it was on the ocean. And the whole, like, there was a whole wall of windows.
Yeah.
And she was shoved in a bathroom. So we asked if she could, if the makeup artist could move to a different spot.
Yeah, so I guess the give instruction doesn't only apply to the bride and grooms. It can also apply to vendors. If we get there early enough and we see, like, the makeup artist has got her shoved in an ugly bathroom and you got a gorgeous window in front of the ocean for the bride to look out on, we'll tell the makeup artist.
We'll ask. We don't just say, move your stuff.
Well.
Right.
But if it came down to it, we would.
So this photo, you had written in your comments to us when you sent them over that Beth, you were lighting this for Chad while he gets the bouquet toss just right. So how does that work for you guys? Obviously, like, you guys together are a great team. Individually, you get awards for your photos. And how do you guys really how have you figured that out so you're not like, your own personal maybe egos don't get in the way, or like, I got to get this bouquet shot or this shot's mine or something like that? How has that like really kind of worked out for you guys?
Well, I think the formula in the past that we've always kind of used, I mean, sometimes we'll both shoot the bouquet and garter toss. It kind of depends on the venue, and if we think, the reason she was lighting for me on this one is we've got this huge, wide open, beautiful venue that I kind of wanted to capture and not have Beth in the shot or something like that. And in case, there's a large group of girls over there, in case things move away from our light, I wanted to have her, with the light to make sure that we're still getting that same look, that consistent look or whatnot. Just the formula in the past has always been like during the reception, mainly just the dancing portion on up to the exit. Beth's always kind of lit for me to take dancing photos. She doesn't really like taking the dancing photos sometimes.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea.
It's just something that we've always kind of done. Same thing with the portraits is, she's got such a creative eye when it comes to portraits, and sometimes when it comes to portraits, I've got more of a traditional eye with the, I'm able to balance the ambient light, the flashlight a little bit better per se, or I don't really know how to word it without making it sound bad, but I have the more like safe minded shot, I guess.
And it also boils down to he's better at telling me how to move the light than I would be of telling him how to move the light.
So for like this shot right here, Beth lighting for me, we're on the beach. We had just taken several natural lit portraits, and then the sun's going down. The sun looks awesome. Beth will take a few really cool silhouettes of them, and then I'll have her grab the light out of the bag and light for me, because I know that I can quickly, get a beautiful kind of safe portrait for the couple for them to hang on the wall with the light. So there's not really a whole lot of ego fighting going on when it comes to the lighting portion. She's generally more of a natural light photographer. I mean, she'll obviously use strobes during the during other portions of the day. She's really good at it, but as far as
Jared asked a question. What's up, Jared? Back to that bouquet shot. He was wondering how many lights you used on that one.
so that one we used two. So I
Yeah.
did have one back behind the group of girls to kind of do a little bit of a backlight, and then Beth was with the main light. She was camera left, more in front of the bride, getting that straight on look, I guess. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah, generally most of what I do for receptions is the two lights set up. So if we have the lights set up on stands, we'll have them almost cross lit across the dance floor, and we'll both be shooting like the first dance with the flashes, and that's kind of our go-to setup for that portion. And then I'll generally try to have a backlight somewhere for other reception shots, and then Beth will either be lighting or we'll have the light on the stand and we'll both be shooting it. So.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And then for I think the other thing is the ego thing. I always have to, I mean, I know I always like to think that I'm like, we're a team, we're in this together, we're in it to win it. But I also have to remember that this business is Chad's. Like he's really takes on the lead role here. I have a separate, like if he came into my classroom, I would then take a lead role, and then he would be, just kind of, I feel like if you were in my classroom, you would take on the role that I take on with you. So we do this together and we tackle this as a team. But I also kind of take a step back, and I understand, it's not like I'm not trying to take control here. I'm here to just have fun, to shoot. I get to cull the images, and I do some of the blog work. And then that's like mental capacity wise about where I end, because teaching consumes so much time and energy for me that, I really do have no problem just saying I love being Chad's second.
Yeah. How do you guys do it? Do you ever light for one another, or how do you guys usually handle that situation?
I do all the lighting for Amii.
Okay.
So even when we do portraits, so we'll do, as long as we are using natural light, we'll both be photographing. And then if there's ever lighting, I do the light. And a lot of that's because just of the way that we hold the light. Like we often will have a flash on a quick stick, and we'll either have it like gridded and speared or softboxed. And that's how we do it for the entire reception too. And like a lot of that's because, for one, Amii will like just our style of photographing, Amii will be like squatting on the floor, like through the almost the entire reception, and I'm not squatting on the floor that long. Similarly, she's not gonna hold a light on a pole for like 3 hours. It's just not gonna happen. So part of that is like I think the physicality of us, like I'm not as flexible, she's not as strong, so that works out really well. And then I think similar to what you guys said, Amy's really good at telling me like where the light should go, more than I'm, able to tell her. So I think that works out really well. So
Right. Yeah, I mean this all kind of ties into our our last tip is about like the lighting. What we're talking about is how she'll light for me and whatnot. But it's all about kind of finding that balance between the ambient and the flash, and guiding her to know where to go with the light. What angle she needs to be at, how far away she needs to be from me, how high the light needs to be, all that good stuff. It's kind of ties back into that communication part. You've just gotta communicate clearly. And you kind of know at this point, like when it comes time to portraits, or come down to portraits on sunset on the beach, sunset on the water, whatnot. She kind of knows where to go with the light. And we're same thing. We have a flash on a little monopod stick, and then it'll typically be gridded and sphered, or either I love to use the mag beam.
We use the mag beam a lot.
So like we'll do a really really wide portrait, and Beth will be standing really far away from the couple. I'll have them out on a dock somewhere, not Dave's dock, just so you know, Dave Shea. And I'll have her, with the mag beam lighting from a really far distance. That way she's not in the shot. We don't have to Photoshop her out later on, all that good stuff. So
yeah.
Couple other comments. Joel said he loved that silhouette photograph you guys had. And then maybe right before we end and jump over to the SLR Lounge Awards site. Thought
Oh, I
like
love
we could. This is really interesting, and I think this
that.
shows
Yeah.
great use of teamwork between you guys. So you have like these two photographs of the same kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us a little
So I
bit
thought this one,
about that.
yeah, I thought this one would be pretty cool to include, because once again, Beth was in the balcony,
Yeah.
kind of getting the more safe shot, but we both saw the same moment happen at the same time, and we both got two different angles of it. This is, literally right after the bride and her dad had walked down the aisle. The ring bearer comes flying over there to his mom, I believe, and was just kind of holding the pillow back to one of the guests in one of the rows. So
His job was done. He was
yeah,
like, I don't want to hold a pillow
it was just a
anymore.
cute moment, and it was kind of cool to get the two different angles of it, and kind of cool that we both saw it, happen and whatnot, and that's just
Yeah. All
just
eyes
kind of
on
how we
deck.
operate.
Never stop looking for things. That's taken me a long time to
Yeah.
learn how to do on a wedding day. Sometimes I get so focused and so channeled on like one thing that I forget
Yeah.
to look around.
But she was like her being up there still. She still got the father giving away the bride, the more safe shot from up there where we're supposed to be, and so because she knew that was her job to capture that still, even though she saw that moment, she took a really cool snap of it from up there, and then went back to focusing on the other shot. And that kind of, I guess that's one more additional tip I would say is if something's never like working out for you and you have that second photographer getting the safe stuff, try to stick it out a little bit longer. Keep pushing yourself to try to get that creative shot. If it's just not working out, just keep trying for, another minute or so. Don't give up on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that
Bonus
moment
tip.
happened so fast
Yeah.
that I almost missed the little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I just
bonus tip, really stick it out and keep looking.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so just to
Especially
kind
when
of
you have
round
the
out,
photography.
yeah. So just to kind of round out your tips, communication, all eyes on deck, be there, be square, give instructions, lighting jobs, and bonus tip, stick it out and keep looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always. We always try to, you know, we get the safe stuff per se, but we love to get the creative,
Yeah.
dramatic, different angles and stuff. So
Awesome, cool. So we're gonna jump over to the SLR Lounge main site
okay.
real quick, and you guys have been submitting awards to SLR Lounge for a while now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I missed the past couple months just because, the past couple months in a school year is like really crazy, and so I just missed it. You were good about it though.
Yeah, I think I've submitted a couple, but yeah. Yeah, you can actually see
Yeah,
that's
we
Beth's
have
silhouette right there.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the one we were just looking at.
Go
Yeah.
ahead and go tear it up.
Let's talk about this one. No, we won't talk about this one, but
Yeah.
let's let's chat about this one, and
Okay.
let's go in there. So this one, we are looking at composition. What do you guys feel about the composition on this one?
Yeah, it's the composition's good. I like that I like symmetry. I'm a very symmetrical photographer, and so I always appreciate, a nice symmetrical shot. Um so composition, everything looks pretty good. I like how the couple's in the center right there. Uh I kind of like my symmetrical side kind of wishes the building was the same on both sides, but I know there's no fault to the photographer for the location, obviously,
Yeah.
but that's just one of the things that kind of catches my eye.
The first thing that kind of pops out to me is the contrast between the blue background and like the warm tones of that kind of like that light paint on top of the couple. I like that kind of
Yeah,
contrast.
we're supposed to rate it, right?
Yeah,
We need
so 1 to 10, what do you guys think for composition?
to. What would you give it? I'd
What do
I'd
you
probably give it.
Easy or
I'd
no?
go for an 8.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
Grade 8
that's
as
what we were
well.
thinking too.
Yeah.
yeah.
How about posing?
Posing's good. I mean, their arms are connected. I mean,
Hmm.
there's not a lot of room for Jesus there in the middle, so that's good. I do wish their heads were a little bit closer together, kind of like maybe an almost kissing shot, something like that, to get them just a little bit more connected.
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of a generic wedding pose, but there's nothing wrong with that either. So, I'd probably give them either a 7 or an 8 for the posing, just for the fact that their heads aren't quite as close as I'd like them to do, and maybe have a little bit more connection in the emotion of their face.
I don't know if this falls under posing, but I almost lose their head in the light.
Yeah, and that was a point that I was going to make on this one is the light behind them, is basically the same tone as their skin tone or whatever, similar colors, so you definitely kind of lose their faces in the background.
Okay, so what do you guys think for lighting? What would you rate that for lighting?
No, I think lighting-wise it's solid.
I think lighting-wise it's pretty good. There's a little bit of a shadow on his face, where on that front part of his face, and so I'm guessing it was just one single light. Looks like maybe camera left, kind of up high, pointing down more towards the bride. So, I like the lamppost and all that. I'd probably give it an 8 for lighting.
Okay, awesome. And then what about post-production?
Let's see. I would probably go maybe a 7 on the post-production. One thing, like I said, I would like to see maybe if they went in with a brush and cooled down those tones behind them, and maybe even photoshopped out the bars going across the doorway, because those bars kind of intersect their faces and their heads a little bit. It kind of chops it off a little bit, and I definitely kind of lose their face with the. I wish that part was blue like the building was as well, which I know since they've got like that slow shutter drag kind of look. I'm sure some of that's a light streak going behind them, so that's a little bit tough. But I would try to go in there and brush that blue and see what happens. So
cool. Good tips, guys. So what are we going to give that one? What do
9?
I was going to do a 7, but we'll go 8.
8? Okay.
An average.
Yeah.
So we went 7.85, and the thing I like about the awards is you can kind of go in there and see how other people rated it. So there's a good total score. So we're a little lower than the average, and then you can see other people that rated it. So there's Matthew Seville, who writes for SLR Lounge, and he gave it an 8.65.
Yeah, overall, I mean, I'm nitpicking it just to kind of for future effort. Overall, it's a solid shot. I love the shutter drag. That's different. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's super creative for sure. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, so that's just a little bit of that. We're heading over into the 30-minute plus range, and we don't want to keep you guys too long. So we really appreciate you guys being with us. And just a reminder to everybody, you can submit to the SLR Lounge Awards, slrlounge.com/awards until June 30th. You have for the June Awards. Awesome. And we really appreciate you guys taking your precious time to be with us and putting all the time and work into prepping for us. People can connect with you on Facebook and also Instagram, and your Instagram is Chad Winstead Photo, Winstead, Winstead. Yep. And what do you guys have coming up that you're stoked about?
Well, we've got another busy weekend this weekend. We've got a wedding in the Outer Banks of North Carolina tomorrow, and then we have to be in New Bern, North Carolina on Saturday for a photo and video wedding. So looking forward to the weekend. And then we get a little bit of a summer break in July and August. We've only got like 2 weddings lined up for the summer, so I'm looking forward to a little bit of relaxation, I think.
Just because I think we talked to him yesterday, but after being together for so long, we are finally getting married in November, so I'm kind of looking forward to having. I know, yeah. We no longer have to have that awkward couple say, "Oh, is that your wife?" And we have to say, "Well, we're getting there." But I'm looking forward to finally having the time to sit down and hash out some of these things.
Yeah, finish up the wedding plans in July. And shout out to Two Man Studios. They'll be photographing our wedding.
Yeah,
I know that's
awesome.
Rad.
So we're really looking forward to hanging out with Laney and Erica on the wedding
Yeah.
day and having them photograph it.
Yeah,
So
that's probably like the one thing I'm most looking forward to, and it might just be because that's what we do, but that's almost what took the longest for us is realizing we're gonna do it. So
Nice.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, congrats, you guys, and
excited for
we
that.
really look forward to seeing more photos coming from you guys and floating around there in social media land. So thanks again, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sounds
Thanks.
good.
Great. And everyone else out there in SLR Lounge Land, we will be back live on Monday with Kate Hopewell Smith and Brent Kerman, who are Fundy ambassadors from England. So we're really excited to have those guys on Monday. So be tuning in for that one. That'll be Monday at 11 a.m. MST. So we'll see you guys then.
All right. We love you guys. Have a beautiful day.
Yes, thank you. Can we give a quick shout out to some of those people?
Yeah. Go ahead. Give a couple shout outs.
No, you're fine. Just wanted to shout out to Paul, Dave. I see you guys commenting. Jared, I love all of you guys, and thanks for commenting. But yeah, I also wanted to give a shout out to ASAP Photo and Camera. They're our local camera store here. I actually work with them part-time some, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them hooking us up with some awesome gear. And other gear that we love, of course, MagMod, what we mentioned earlier, Fundy software, which you just mentioned. Love those guys, love the software. Sony cameras, Spider holster, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without you guys.
Yeah.
Important.
Team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
All righty. Thank you.